The PDP Pro, let's check it out. Today we're going to take a look at the PDP Pro E and PDP Pro F series. These are new from Walther and it just upgrades the standard PDP. And while the PDP trigger was already top-notch, they've improved it with the Pro models. We're going to take a look at the upgrades and go over a lot of the PDP features. And we want to thank Walther for sending the Pro models for this review. And while we're a big fan of the PDP series, we're going to bring out the pros and the cons. But overall, the PDP is excellent. Guys, we have the PDP Pro E series and F series. And the PDP line has been extremely popular. A lot of it has to do with the ergonomics, the trigger, and just the absolute quality of these firearms. Walther really hit the market with the P99. Now they had the P88 and before that the P5. But the P99 really hit law enforcement and was issued to a number of different agencies all across Europe and here in the United States, has really made an excellent self-defense handgun. And then Walther made some big upgrades, and this is the PPQ. The ergonomics, outstanding. The trigger, one of the best on a polymer striker fire pistol, and has been a favorite for a long time. And then came the PDP series, and this is the PDP Compact, and then we had the F series. And we've done full reviews on both of these handguns. But really the focus is on the new PDP Pro Series. Now here we have the compact, and first we're going to drop our magazine. It's 18+1. The chamber is empty. And then we have the F series, 18+1, empty. And they both come with 3 magazines. And we're going to start out with the standard PDP, and this is the compact model. And they offer this in a 4, 4.5, and 5-inch version. Also with two-tone green, gray, FDE, and of course black. One of the big things though about the PDP series is the texturing. These are very ergonomic, some of the most ergonomic handguns out there. And one of the things is the palm swells that come up. It just fits really nice in your hand. The tetrahedron type design, it's not abrasive, but it is aggressive when you grip it. Gives you a very solid feel to it. It does come with interchangeable back straps, and I believe this is the medium that's on here. And then we have just checkering on the front. One of the things though that Walther is known for is a little bit of a lip that comes down, and with that you get the pinky press. These are really made to optimize red dot sights. So if you take that pinky and press it, it lines up your red dot sight. And that's one of the big things when I first reviewed the PDP. They really optimized getting on that red dot sight. Of course, the super terrain serrations, these are actually part of the outside of the slide, where most of your serrations are actually cut into the slide. This actually has material that comes to the outside, and it gives a very aggressive fit to it. I mean, you can pull those serrations back and they just lock into your fingers. We do have extended slide stops, and they are ambidextrous. And of course, our magazine release, it jettisons the mags out, and you can switch it to the other side. But one of the big features of the PDP Pro in the E series is that we have a flat face trigger. It is polymer and it does have your trigger shoe. But again, Walther is really known for its triggers, and this actually exceeds the original PDP. Now we have take up to about right here, a little bit of resistance, and a very crisp tactile break. Reset, very fast. And that's part of the Pro Series, but also they have the magwell, and this is an aluminum magwell, and so it's going to allow those magazines to just fit in any direction. I mean, you can bring it up and it just funnels those magazines right into the grip. This also gives you even more of a pinky press where it comes down. So as I grip it, and then it nestles in my hand. And so it just allows me to have a really solid grip to it. I'll tell you guys, again, the Walther PDP grip is one of the best on the market. It is more of a checkered on the front, but again, it has those tetrahedron shapes in it that just really fit into your hand. Again, it's not aggressive as far as, or abrasive against your skin, but it does give you a solid grip on the handgun. Of course, we have the accessory rail in the front. One of the things that Walther sent along with this handgun was the Viridian CTL weapons light. And we do have paddles on either side. It is ambidextrous, and it puts out 550 lumens, and it is rechargeable. And then also they sent the RFX 11 red dot sight. And with Viridian, green is the color. And we have the 3-dot sights, but it does co-witness because this sight really fits low into the slide. And this is all aluminum, and it's really nice. And I just wanted to mention that since they did send it. It actually matches with the serrations of the PDP. Now on the PDP line, for your optics plate, you order it, and you get a coupon to get the first one free. And I think they're $39 otherwise. But whatever sight pattern you have, you can just order it directly from Walther. But really, this just gets you ready for more of a competitive type firearm, or if you want something that is just very capable. With the aluminum magwell, the 3 magazines, and the trigger, and that's really what separates it into the Pro Series. Now when it comes to the Pro F Series, one of the big things is the reduction of the grip. And you can see there is quite a bit of reduction. This is more like a 1911 grip angle. It still has the tetrahedron type design in here and on the back strap. Of course, you have interchangeable back straps, and then we have that checkering at the front. And of course, right here at the front of your trigger guard. We have a 3-slot Picatinny rail, and we have one of the C&H WL DMO red dot sights. Now this is a multi-reticle sight. While it's not going to focus, this is a circle with a dot, and then it comes with a circle and then just a dot. And then as you can see, it does co-witness with the sights. But one of the big differences with the F Series is the length from the back strap to the trigger. This is made specifically for female shooters or those with smaller hands. And this trigger is actually an advancement over the PDP Pro E model. This is an aluminum trigger, and it is their dynamic performance trigger. So it's all metal. One of the things about a metal trigger is that it just has a better contact when you pull the trigger. And so here we have that trigger safety, and then take up to here, and you can see it's stopping at that 90-degree angle. A little bit of movement right past the wall, and then a very crisp, nice break. Reset right there. I mean, these triggers are absolutely excellent. I will say that the dynamic performance trigger is a little more crisp than on the PDP Pro E. And you can order the dynamic performance trigger directly from Walther. And another difference between the original PDP and the PDP-F is those super terrain slide serrations on the PDP-F have been rounded off some. They're a little bit more sharp, and this allows for more gross motor skills, for bigger hands, but this makes it just a little bit softer, and yet you still get that traction of those super terrain serrations. But one of the big things between the PDP-F and the PDP-E, again, is the grip circumference. The reach to the trigger pull on the F Series is 2.56 inches. With the E Series, it's 2.76 inches. So you're going to have a little bit longer trigger reach, which for those with larger hands, you don't want your finger coming all the way through like this. You want to have that pad on the trigger. And so if you do have larger hands, this is going to be a better option. With the PDP-F, again, that reach makes it really short and really able to get that just right trigger pad for those with smaller hands. Also with the grip circumference, it's 5.6 inches in grip circumference. On the standard PDP, it's 5.8 inches. And while that doesn't seem to be a lot, it definitely feels a lot different in your hand. The PDP-E, putting it in my hand, I mean, it really feels my hand. With the PDP-F, again, this feels more like a 1911. It is a thin grip, and it just gives you more gripping surface, especially if you have smaller hands. And I'll be honest, guys, when the PDP-F came out, I really liked that little bit of a smaller grip. I have medium-sized hands, but I'll tell you, the PDP series gives you a full grip on the pistol. The PDPF also has a lighter weight recoil spring, so it makes it just easier to rack. With the standard PDP, a little bit stronger, but still it's not that hard. But for those with smaller hands or a little bit weaker hand strength, the PDPF is going to be a better choice. And you know, guys, there's a ton of smaller handguns out there. But when you get into a full-size service type pistol and making that grip smaller, it allows those with smaller hands to have a semi-automatic that really fits their hand. And really, for a home defense gun, I really like to have a full-size firearm. And this gives those with smaller hands more choices. Now here's the F-Series with a 3.5-inch barrel. It's a little bit smaller. You can see that here with the standard 4-inch barrel, it just comes out a little bit. So it gives it a little bit of extra length. This just makes it easier for concealed carry. We're going to check out the trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. This is the Polymer PDP E model. 4 pounds, 7 ounces. Now with the PDP F model with the dynamic performance trigger, which is an aluminum. 4 pounds, 2.1 ounces. A really nice trigger break. And when it comes to the PDP-F, it weighs 24 ounces, and that's without the red dot. When it comes to the standard PDP E model, these are 24.6 ounces, so there's not really a lot of difference between the two. And that is with the 4-inch model. I want to give a big thank you to Fiocchi for supplying our ammunition, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammo in the country. And also, we want to give a big shout out to Lula Loaders, making range day easy, especially with these higher capacity magazines. Walther PDP, very popular, a complete transition over the PPQ. Those subterranean slide serrations, easy to grab, and this has just been an excellent gun. One of the things about Walther is the ergonomics. They're just excellent, but the trigger is really one of the best on the market. Very crisp, very clean. With the Pro Series, they've upgraded the trigger. It's an aluminum trigger, flat face, shoots like a dream. Also, we have our mag well, which just gives you easy to be able to put those mags in. And this is the F-Series. So this is just going to give you that really short, just thin, very slim grip. Makes it easier to get that index finger onto the trigger, especially if you have smaller hands. And really it was designed for those with smaller hands, females. It just gives you a really tight grip. Of course, we have one of the C&H optics on here. The one thing about Walther is it's just really good quality. And I think this is really one of the best striker fire polymer frame pistols on the market. But if you have larger hands, we have the standard PDP. This has more of your textured, bigger grip. It has palm swells in it, has a little bit of a curve at the back. Also the Pro model, so it does have your mag well. It does have that incredible flat face trigger that really upgrades this pistol. Very easy ergonomics. I'm telling you, you know, the Walther, even with their P99 and then coming out with the PPQ series, and a lot of the parts of the PPQ do interchange, but this is really a huge upgrade over the original PPQ. Man, it's just a solid shooting gun. Then again with the F-Series. You want to go a step above. I mean, I think the Pro is excellent. It gives you that beautiful trigger, gives you that really sweet mag well, is removable, and the PDP on its own is really an excellent gun. Now there is one con that I do want to mention. One of the things about these long slide stops is that if you get a really high ride up on the gun, which that's the way I like to shoot, sometimes you can inadvertently hit that slide stop. And I found that with the PPQ, and really I hadn't experienced it that much with the PDP until we were at the range. And the slide would not hold back a few times, and I realized I was putting just a little bit of pressure on that slide stop. I think I'm hitting that lever right there, keeping it from coming back. Yep, hitting that lever, it'll cause it to not lock open. Now disassembly is the same with all PDP models. We're going to drop our magazine, check the chamber, and the gun's empty. First thing you're going to do is pull your trigger, pull back on your slide just a touch, and pull on your takedown tabs. And the slide will just come right off. Next we have our recoil spring and guide rod. It is polymer, and then we have our barrel. Relief cuts all throughout the top of the slide. You can see, I mean, look at the machining. That nitride finish is absolutely beautiful. And then we have our frame. And again, polymer striker fire frame, which is fairly typical. We have some nice little slide rails, but overall, just a polymer frame for a striker fire. And we have the barrel. Looks like it's black nitrided. Nice little feed ramp, but a good solid barrel system. And then again, our recoil spring. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. And again, it's the same for all models. To reassemble, just drop in your barrel. And we'll put in our recoil spring and guide rod. And then just bring it right back over your frame. Magazine, test for function, and we're back in business. Now the retail price on the Walther PDP Pro E model is $779. When it comes to the Pro F model, it's $899. A big part of that is the dynamic performance trigger. That's going to really change things. Again, these run $179 on the Walther website. I didn't see the polymer flat face trigger listed. And then also the aluminum magwells. But honestly guys, that is the biggest difference, is the trigger and the magwell. But it makes a big performance difference. The standard PDP retails for $649. These are coming in at a more reasonable price, and then of course add the upgrades. Now the C&H sight is not included, and the Viridian, what they call defense starter kit with the sight and with the light. That is also an addition. So pros and cons. First off, of course, the F-Series is made specifically for those with smaller hands, definitely for female shooters. In fact, they received input from over 1,000 women with the PDP F-Series. And one of the things I love about that is that it really helps our most vulnerable. And for a major gun company to do that, I think is a big plus. It has a lesser weight recoil spring, which just makes it easier to rack the slide. It has a less trigger reach, and the circumference of the grip has been reduced. And then again, we add the magwell and this dynamic performance trigger, which is just excellent. Now when it comes to the PDP Pro E model, you do have that full-size grip, and of course the texturing on here is just excellent on both handguns. But this is more hand-filling. And then of course with the trigger, even though this is polymer, it's a flat-face trigger and it is really crisp. Better than your standard curved trigger on your traditional PDP. The super terrain slide serrations are excellent, and of course they are rounded off some on the F-Series. And it fits lights and lasers really well. As far as any cons, it's a larger handgun, and even when you get down to the 3.5-inch model on the F-Series. But these are made as more full-size shooting handguns, whether it's female or for male. And again, if you have smaller hands, you may really like the F-Series, which personally I like. I do find though that the PDP E model fits my hand a little bit better, and there are different back straps. What are some cons? It just has 3-dot plain sights. That's not bad, but you know, I would like to have maybe some night sights or a fiber optic front, but that's easy to do. There's a lot of companies that have aftermarket support, and including a lot of different holster options. Also, you have to decide, are the upgrades of the trigger, which I think are excellent, and the magwell, is it worth the extra money? And that's for you to decide. The super terrain slide serrations, they are a little thicker, which is going to hinder a little bit with concealed carry because it is going to be a little bit of a wider slide. But honestly, it's not much wider than most of your polymer frame striker fire pistols. I think one last con is that you do have to order your optics plate, but that's going to help keep the price down. So that could be a pro or a con. Now there is one con that I do want to mention. You got to be careful when you're shooting this to make sure that you keep your hand, because it's really easy, especially with those thumbs forward, high ride, it can be very easy to hit that slide stop. But also one additional pro is that it does take your PPQ magazines. But they do also offer 20 round magazines as well. And this really gives you a lot of mag capacity. It has a little bit of different base pad, but really it just barely sticks out of the bottom. So 20 round magazines are excellent, but 18 rounds, that is also a big plus because the original PDP mags were just 15 rounds. There's no commercial that said, "You come a long way, baby," from the PPK, which is legendary. And man, this is a totally different firearm, but yet really high quality. And two, I guess you feel a little bit like James Bond. Guys, the PDP has proven to be a really great firearm, but when you have the Pro Series, it just takes a really good trigger and makes it excellent. And really, that's the big story with the Pro Series. And of course, you do get the aluminum magwell, so it just makes these two a more capable firearm. And again, a big thank you to Walther for sending the PDP Pro E and PD Pro F. Great handguns. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Guys, the Walther PDF, we have a PDF file. Really back in the 1980s, I think. Today at okay, no. The trigger is really good, okay. I like the way that started out, but they are new models that are offered by Walther. Walther ordered these for this little stash. This is the PDP, you goop. The PDP series. Okay. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Okay, we're gonna stop now.